Scar for a Scar in Iyslander was made famous alongside Wounded Bull in Michael Hamilton's winning run at US Nationals. These cards are realistically pretty brilliant includes, to a certain degree no-duh type includes that most of us should have probably already been on. But foresight and hindsight are different things, and only one produces a victor. So major props to him on that. And as players are racing to now incorporate the new top tech into their lists, I'm here to argue why you should not add Scar for a Scar into your Iyslander list when playing a non-sideboard format like Blitz or Commoner. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there folks, and welcome back to Dice Commando and Go Again, a fabulous cast. So here I am, yes, that's right folks, actually risking helping you dirty wizard players. Yep, it looks like I need to kick my own rear.
What the hell are you doing?
I'm kicking my ass! Do you mind?
Now, our good friends over at Fab Foundry are celebrating 3 years of Flesh and Blood with a huge sale. 15% off all singles on the site, good through October 16th. This is actually pretty huge that puts many of their prices below that of TCG Player. So go check out Fab Foundry, and when you do, please use the referral link in the description of this video below. And I get a very small kickback from that to help me keep my cardboard addiction going. In the last few weeks, I've seen a lot of Iyslander players shifting over to Wounded Bull and Scar for a Scar as includes in their Iyslander lists. And while Wounded Bull certainly makes sense, I'm here today to argue why Scar for a Scar doesn't fit into non-sideboard format lists. When Michael Hamilton started nailing people with cards like Wounded Bull and Findall's Fighting Spirit in his Iyslander lists at US Nats, a lot of us were like, yeah, that's a pretty good call. Why the hell didn't we think of that, right? Because it makes sense. So much of what Iyslander's trying to do is lob bombs over the top of the AB while disrupting along the way. One of those primary traditional tools, of course, being either Ice Vein, a red 3 that shoots a few over the top, probably draws a non-permanent card and paying for AB, and then when fused, forces a discard. But running cards like Wounded Bull, the red 3s that produce massive physical damage with a bonus on lesser health, also threaten coming over the top, but this time force permanent cards, which leaves your opponent either down health or down cards, which then lets you ping them on their/our turn. It's really pretty brilliant. Scar for a Scar was another such include that made sense. Present Breakpoint Physical with Ghost that then allows wizard shenanigans. Again, it makes perfect sense. As such, many Iyslander players rush to just carbon copy the concepts into their decks. And while I think the big red concept remains solid, I question the effectiveness of running Scar for a Scar in non-sideboard formats. Now, I am not, nor have I ever claimed to be a wizard expert. So with that understood, to make my argument, let's instead look at this from the other side of things. And it boils down to this. I believe you're actually helping me when you play this card. When I'm playing against Iyslander, one of my biggest problems, as with all players, is when you draw that handful of reds. Your cards, that normally would block for 3 against physical damage, are nearly useless to you now. You take a buttload of damage and then you aren't even able to clap back as effectively either. And my biggest fear of that is that my opponent is counting my deck and knows when those red cards, that clump of reds, is coming back around. Before the era of the Bull, against Iyslander, the only reliable way to get reds out of your deck were to play them. This opened you up to a hit, but if you could leave enough in hand and floating, then you could minimize the fallout. Defense reactions, though, are generally a massive liability in the wizard matchup. They're the wrong color, you generally have no efficient way to get rid of them other than pitching for one, so they clog up your hand and your deck. And in a non-sideboard format, you can't side them out. You're stuck with them in your list, providing wizard player a constant opportunity to strike when these are in hand. And that's why when I get hit with an either Ice Fiend or Winter's Bite, forcing a pay or discard effect, I'm windmill slamming down my D-reacts into the discard pile. Sure, no one's ever excited to lose a card, but being presented with the chance to thin my deck and increase the blue percentage is often well worth it. So all of a sudden, we actually start to see the issue on the wizard side. Now that they're coming with physical damage, players are presented with efficient methods of burning their reds. Traditionally, a D-react in a list has been a bonus to a wizard, but now in exchange for increasing their damage potential, they're also sacrificing those weaknesses. So Andrew, you're saying that Michael Hamilton's deck concept won't apply to Blitz and Commoner? No, that's really not entirely what I'm saying, and granted, only time will tell how that little sub-meta game ends up fleshing out. But where I stand today is that the bigger bombs like Wounded Bull, Findles, and so on are still worth playing. Coming in for an 8 or a 7, threatening good health or hand thinning only to get bombed on the next turn still feels like they are insanely good tactics for an Iyslander to push. In our commoner event last Saturday, my round 1 opponent Tristan on Iyslander even hit me with a pummel on a Wounded Bull. That's right, a pummel. I did not see that one coming. Scar for a Scar, though, I believe is a different story. It doesn't provide a real threatening breakpoint. The opponent can block with a single red defense and take 1. Taking the 1 damage is generally far preferable to taking a larger hit the next turn. Worse, it gives an opportunity to purge a red D-React for an even card-for-card trade. Putting a D-React into the arsenal is borderline insanity against a wizard unless perhaps they're going to give you an opportunity to use it. In CC, where in theory they're citing all this stuff out, it makes sense, but not in a format where you want to take advantage of those stuck reds. Also, once you start doing the math on the number of reds in your deck as a wizard, Scar, Bull, Aether Ice Vein, and so on, you can start to push up against what you actually want to be doing to begin with. Are you able to disrupt still, or are you still just going for it now with physical damage? Because let's be honest about it, if you're not doing what Iyslander fundamentally wants to do, if you're not setting them up to take hits on their turn and slow them down, doesn't another hero potentially just do it better? I think maybe so. Anyway, that's my piece for today, and that's all I've got. So let me know in the comments below. Do you agree? Are you running Scar in your Blitz list? Is it the bee's knees? Do you love it? Or are you simply trading a card and maybe a point of damage for a chance for them to thin out their reds? Let me know. Thanks for watching, and go Commando.